Good afternoon. I have a few topics that I would like to address this afternoon. First, I would like to give an update on the non-essential water restriction we had to implement last week due to the emergence of an algae bloom on our reservoirs. The bloom was discovered on the upper and lower artichoke reservoirs the week of August 10th. These reservoirs are the primary sources of drinking water for the city of Newburyport and portions of Newbury and West Newbury. Since this occurred, the Newburyport Department of Public Services Water Division has continued to conduct ongoing testing of the water. There's no indication of toxins currently present in our treated drinking water. The water remains safe for drinking and other essential uses. Residents may use the water for drinking, making infant formula, for ice, brushing teeth, and preparing foods. Boiling water is not necessary. However, we will still continue to have the mandatory water restriction on non-essential water uses until further notice. The water use restriction has helped to control the spread of the algae bloom and allows the Water Division to control the bloom more quickly. Please understand that the bloom is the primary driver for the water restriction, but that our region is also currently in a drought condition. That alone could trigger a water restriction as well. So thank you to all of our residents who are honoring these water restrictions and for the many who have turned off their irrigation systems temporarily. It's really appreciated. Testing will be ongoing, both for the immediate situation and going forward as part of our regular monitoring. We are working with limnologists who have expertise in treating algae blooms safely. Treatment of the blooms is underway, and our consultants have recommended we continue the water restriction until after the treatments are completed. The treatment does not have an effect on the drinking water. In addition, the toxicity levels in the reservoirs are technically below the recreational use guidelines, meaning they are not unsafe for people and pets. However, we wish to err on the side of caution and do not recommend any water use at the reservoir until the final analysis can be completed by our consultants. Much more information and updates can be found on the city's website, cityofnewburyport.com/water restrictions. We anticipate a strong turnout for the state primary. Yes, it is voting season. In addition to ballots being mailed in, we've conducted early in-person voting at the Senior Community Center this week, which concludes tomorrow, Friday, August 28th at noon. On Tuesday, September 1, voting will occur from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at your usual ward polling places. Face coverings are required and social distancing guidelines will be in place. Please go to thecityofnewburyport.com/cityclerk if you have questions about where you vote or election news, and there are more links for information for 2020 elections. The application process has begun for the $400,000 grant awarded by the Department of Housing and Community Development for Newburyport. Remember, this is a shared CDBG grant with Amesbury for $800,000. The program will provide $10,000 grants to income-qualified small businesses with 5 or fewer employees to help pay for rent, mortgage, employee wages, and technical assistance to help them get back on their feet and adjust to this new economic normal. The City of Amesbury Department of Community and Economic Development will be administering the grant on behalf of both communities. We will continue to accept applications until the grant money is dispersed, though applications submitted by Friday, September 11th, will be given priority. Please visit the city website and go to the Small Business Relief Grants now available on our home page to apply online. This past weekend, unfortunately, and most disturbing, was yet another incident in our city involving a man visiting Newburyport who used racist and sexist language towards a mother and daughter in Newburyport. I condemn that behavior, but I really commend our police department and Marshal Murray for mounting an aggressive and swift investigation that identified this person who can now answer for his actions in court. There is simply no room for this kind of hate and tolerance, and we will take necessary steps to reduce this prejudice and racism in our city. More than ever, it is timely that we discuss the launch of our Diversity, Inclusion, and Equity Initiative to make Newburyport a more equitable, just, and inclusive community for all. In the coming weeks, we will be convening a task force of local, political, religious, business, community advocates, along with Human Rights Commission, to participate. This collective effort will take place by key partners and will focus on developing measurable and attainable goals for a sustainable community plan for racial justice. I have proposed funding for this effort in the fiscal 2021 budget that was submitted to the City Council last week and is currently under workshop review. There are many who say that racism is an ongoing public health crisis that needs our attention now. We'll begin looking at 4 questions. Who are we? Where are we? Where do we want to go? And lastly, what will we do as individuals and with others to make a difference? We need to work together to ensure racial equity justice through the creation and proactive reinforcement of policies, practices, attitudes, and actions that produce equitable power, access, opportunity, treatment, and outcomes for all people, regardless of race. We welcome the participation and feedback of our community as we begin this critically important work. Please help us move forward. Thank you. Lastly, we must stay the course in fighting the coronavirus in our community. We have good numbers. We did have 1 additional case this week, but please continue to wear your required face covering in public, especially in the mandated mask area downtown, on the waterfront, and the rail trail, whether indoors or outdoors. And continue to do so whenever you go and when you are unable to keep a 6-foot distance from others around you. It's working and helping to keep Newburyport safe and healthy. There's much coming up with our schools reopening, the fall season upon us, the ongoing racism issues, political elections, and so much more. From the start of this pandemic, we've been in this together, and we need to persevere. Let's continue to care about each other, and let's recommit now and every day to keeping each other safe. Have a wonderful weekend. See you next week.